Hello, in this video we will be discussing some techniques that you can employ to help your students with intellectual disability. What is intellectual disability? Before we get started on teaching methods, let's go over what intellectual disability is. As defined by IDEA, intellectual disability means significantly sub-average general intellectual functioning, existing concurrently with deficits in adaptive behavior and manifested during the developmental period that adversely affects a child's educational performance. There are two very important pieces to this definition. First, the general intellectual functioning piece. Generally, this is determined by an IQ score below 70. The other piece is the deficits in adaptive behavior. This is determined by comparing behavior to a student's peers and seeing how their development is in relation to their peers. Typically, intellectual disability manifests itself in delayed development of social, reading, writing, math, and overall life skills. However, it is very important to note that the delayed development of these skills does not mean that they are impossible for the student to learn. In fact, using these following strategies can make a huge difference not only in the education of these students, but also in their daily lives. The first method we'll be talking about is self-management. Self-management is very helpful for helping students with on-task behaviors. On-task behaviors are an area of difficulty for some students with intellectual disability. One of the best practices to help improve on-task behavior is self-management skills. These skills include any strategy that the students use to ensure that they are meeting their behavioral goals on their own. These skills are fantastic for your students because they don't just improve their academic performance, but help them positively manage their behavior in many aspects of their lives. Furthermore, feedback structures, which are essential to teaching self-management, greatly help students with reinforcement. Here are some methods of self-management. Self-assessment. Self-assessment is when students reflect on their behavior and determine if they met or are performing a specific target behavior or set of behaviors. Usually, this means students are given a sheet, like this one, and are regularly supposed to select how they believe their behavior has been. These sheets are then collected by a teacher or other educator and evaluated. Self-monitoring. Self-monitoring is similar to self-assessment, but rather than focusing on meeting a specific target behavior, students reflect on their overall behavior. Self-determination of reinforcement. With this strategy, students decide what their reinforcement is based on their performance. This ties into self-administration of reinforcements, where students administer their own reinforcement. Usually, this looks like students deciding from a list of reinforcements when they have met a goal behavior, then physically obtaining the reinforcement themselves. Using technology. Even something as simple as a timer can be an incredibly important tool for self-management. This can help keep the practices regular and make sure that they're effective. However, more involved options are also available, such as computer programs. These programs can build in a timer with visual cues and an automatic self-assessment. While these can be very helpful, they can also be expensive, so a simple timer is often a great tool. It is important to note that all of these skills, as fantastic as they are for the students, do require supervision. Building independence is a super important goal for students with intellectual disability, and these strategies are really effective at reaching that goal. Another important strategy is peer support arrangements. Rather than depending on one-on-one instruction with a teacher, this strategy allows students with intellectual disability to learn alongside their peers. This strategy is particularly useful for general education mainstream classrooms, as it usually involves at least one student without a disability, working to academically and socially support a student with an intellectual disability. As with the last strategy, supervision is still very important for peer support groups. This ensures that the groups are beneficial for all the students in the group. Peer support groups can massively increase the academic engagement and performance of students with intellectual disability. However, this is not their only benefit, as they also provide positive social interactions for all the students in the group. Universal design is very important in ensuring that the content is accessible to all the members of the group. It also ensures that all members of the group are doing the same work in the same way, which facilitates the support provided by the students. It is important to note, while this strategy has the potential to be fantastic, there are many factors that go into ensuring it works optimally. One of the most important of these factors is the variability of peers. Often, we can't exactly predict how peers are going to interact within the group. So making sure that these groups are always supervised and have some structure is very important to making sure that everything goes well. Next, we're going to talk about transition support. Students with intellectual disability generally experience a lot of anxiety transitioning out of secondary education. Ensuring that they have the support they need and that they formulate a plan is absolutely essential to mitigating this stress. And it is important that the students understand and take advantage of the array of options available to them after high school. Of course, not every educator can provide all the transition support a student needs, but it can be very helpful to check in occasionally and make sure that a student is at least thinking about a plan, and maybe giving them some ideas and letting them bounce some ideas off of you. Last, we're going to talk about working with parents. Working with parents is absolutely essential to the education of students with intellectual disabilities. At the end of the day, no one understands a student more than their parents. You as a teacher can tap into that knowledge and work with the parents to best educate the student. It is very important to share how the student is doing at school so the parents understand how schooling is working for their child. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you're able to implement some of these strategies, even if it's just in a small way, and have a great day.